Hello and welcome to Sports This Morning. I'm Cecilia Omogbe.
Always a delight to have you join us to talk sports. I'm Austin Okonakwan. On the show this morning, we'll continue to take a look at some of the disruptions that COVID-19 has done to our world of sports. Today, we're looking at the survival options for rugby in Nigeria. How are they coping in the pandemic, and what are the plans for post-COVID-19?
Especially after they failed to qualify for the Japan 2020 Olympics. That will now be 2021. So we'll be taking a look at that. Also on the program, we'll be taking a look at Manchester City simply because they're preparing for one of the biggest weeks in the club's history with the appeal against a 2-year ban from European competitions starting at the Court of Arbitration for Sports today.
Defining week indeed it is for Manchester City. We'll continue to monitor that one. Also on the show this morning, former two-weight United Ultimate Fight Championship champion Conor McGregor has retired again. Cecilia, this is the third time McGregor is announcing a retirement. Listen, we were getting vibes that was going to fight Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian Nightmare, and he has come out to announce another retirement.
It says nothing motivates him anymore. So, I mean, he is not ready. 2016, right? 2019, April 2016, he retired.
Yeah.
March 2019, he announces another retirement. And again, June 2020, another retirement.
Come on.
Three retirements in 4 years.
I don't know. Conor's got some vibes. Conor, arguably, is a model for the UFC. So I don't know, and I think he can still go the distance.
We never can tell. Maybe after COVID, when fans start returning to Octagon and is looking more vibrant and all that, it's not boring. Maybe he will come back. So once he says he retire, maybe until he's 35, I can actually believe him that he's really retiring. But for now,
we should not take him. We should not take him serious again. Even if he comes back, we'll just say we know you are leaving the next day, so it's all good. Let's go to Cape Town in South Africa. The coach of the Black Stallions is Nigeria's senior men's rugby team. The coach, Bronson Ware, joins us now on the program to take a look at COVID-19 and the disruption it has done to rugby in Nigeria. Good morning, Coach Ware. Welcome to Sports This Morning.
Good morning, Austin, and thank you very much for having me on the show again. I hope you guys are safe in my wonderful country, Niger. But yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Beautiful. Good to have you on the program. We're staying safe, and I'm super excited that we'll have you talk to us this morning. Let's take a look at COVID-19 and some of the disruption it has done to rugby worldwide. Having Africa and Nigeria in mind, how much of a damage has COVID-19 done to the country's rugby?
Yeah, it's very huge, to be honest with you. Look, we have to first take lives into consideration. Before you have rugby players, you have humans. So we have to take that into context first. But to be honest with you, in terms of the rugby impact is major. If you look at the Tier 1 nations, when I'm referring to Tier 1 nation, rugby playing nations, referring to New Zealand, South Africa, and so forth, and England, obviously. They are playing up to 8 to 12 matches a year. Now, a Tier 2 nation and lower than that, if you look at Nigeria, last year we only played 3 test matches. And it's already challenging just to have 3 test matches. But now that we're going to have none this year, it's a massive challenge because although I've been engaging my players via WhatsApp and Zoom calls and so forth to get them, still keep them ready and fit, they're going to just see this as no use now at the end of the day. And the club rugby back in Niger will even suffer much more. So if they're not going to play this year, I'm not sure what we're going to see next year. The game of rugby will always be there, but in terms of the quality, what they are missing out this year already is going to be a massive challenge.
Oh, interesting. Just 3 test matches last year. Now, post-COVID plans for you, how is it going to look like? Because you just mentioned that Nigeria may likely not even play any game at all this year.
Yeah, look, we have to first see what the major thing is. I think I keep on talking to most of the journalists about this, is the budget. And what the budget allows, we'll then obviously see what we can do. But if Africa Rugby next year, the West Africa series will hopefully pick up. And then there's also the match between Ghana and Nigeria that is called the President's Cup that must continue as well. we're not going to play it this year, so hopefully it's going to pick up next year if there's budget allowing for this, because you do know that it's private companies sponsoring the rugby at the moment. There's no support currently from or little support from government. So if the companies are struggling financially and they already can't pay the employers on a regular basis, it's going to be a challenge just to get rugby back to where it was and to go beyond. So that is the major challenge that I think, to be honest, as well, I think Rugby Africa needs to do a bit more. There are over 20 odd rugby playing nations, and we need to play. Those that are not in the top tier need to play more regularly. They need to play more test matches, and also, even if it's just sevens, to grow the game in Africa itself. So those are the things that needs to happen. Rugby Africa needs to put in much more money for these sort of things to happen. To give a fair chance for teams in Africa to qualify for HSB 7 series and so forth. We've seen what the likes have done with teams that I've worked before, like Kenya and Uganda, and at times Zimbabwe, what impact it can have when you play on the HSB 7 series. But there needs to be a proper structure in place for these nations to compete when they are allowed an opportunity to play against the best in the world.
So, Coach, I've been following the struggle for survival for rugby in Nigeria. Funding has been a major issue. I remember the last time I had you on the show, you were talking about it, that we need more sponsorship, we need to rev up the interest for rugby, and now COVID-19 has done some more damage. What's the way out of all of these struggles, particularly now that we are thinking post-COVID-19?
Yeah, like I said, I think the government needs to hold our hand there to grow the sport in Nigeria itself. And then obviously we need more people to get involved. When I say more people, I'm referring to companies to put their hand in their pockets to grow the game. We need to see a proper structure from the school system into a university system, into a club system. But currently what you have in some states in Niger is that you have a club system, but no school system. Or in a different area, like in the north, you have a school system, but not a proper club structure or a university structure. So the guys get lost in the translation of rugby, if you know what I mean. They go through phases, but when there's no rugby, they go to other sports like athletics, soccer, maybe back to soccer, or wrestling, or basketball, whatever it is. And to be honest with you, there's such a lot of great rugby playing Nigerians across the globe, in America, in Europe, in South Africa. If we get the finances right, these players will come and play for Niger, and we will be a force to be reckoned with. I've traveled the globe and I've seen these boys. You go into whatever social media platforms, you'll see these guys playing wherever else, and they are making a heck of an impact. Sorry, a heck of an impact, and imagine they can make that impact on a world stage playing for their country of birth instead of for the UK, England or South Africa. It will be absolutely amazing to see Nigeria compete against the rest of the world. So just to answer the rest of the question, in terms of post COVID, hopefully things will phase out and rugby start picking up in 2021. And in 2022, it's the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham in the UK. And I hope that things will change by then, and hopefully we can put in a powerful team of Nigerians across the globe, plus the local boys that are playing back in Nigeria.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, well, obviously with the whole COVID issues and all that, there's going to be a recovery plans for the Black Stallions. Just last year when they were preparing for, competitions for the Olympics, talking about the Rugby Sevens series where they participated in the African Cup Sevens. I mean, also doubled as qualifications for the Tokyo Games, and Nigeria couldn't clinch tickets there. They finished 8th. So what are these recovery plans you want to put in place to ensure that maybe the national team can get better results at major international tournaments once competitions starts?
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, that competition here in Africa, in South Africa, in Johannesburg, we didn't get it right. Even the match against Madagascar. But you can't just put all the attention on Nigeria to say, or other African countries to say, you didn't get it right here. You need to bring the bigger picture into play, and that is Rugby Africa. I think you need to do much more. I mean, if before the Rugby Africa tournament, besides just practicing in Niger and meeting the team back here in South Africa, there were no other tournaments. So in terms of the mother body providing more opportunities for the guys to play, even if they just said, okay, here's some funding for West Africa series, there would have been some sort of preparation for the guys to have played here. So I think the mother body, Rugby Africa, should have gotten that a bit, or assisted us to help to get it right. In terms of why I say we didn't get it right, like you mentioned, we didn't get a ticket. But if you go and look at the first result where we played Zimbabwe, we finished second in that tournament and qualified for the Repechage tournament. And also, who've played at the HSB7 series before. We lost that match in the last few minutes. If you go look at halftime, Nigeria was leading. So what I'm trying to say to you is, with better preparation and the bigger guys that has the funding in their pockets, if we had to have a proper preparation for that tournament, things would have been much different. A possible camp, a bigger squad around the globe, not just players from home-based Nigeria. Things could have been so much different for us, where we could have then gone to the Olympics or the Repechage, and the guys would have seen this. Look, here's an opportunity to qualify, because the rules for the Olympics is completely different to the world rugby. For instance, if I can mention a guy that is that has dual citizenship, if he can't play for England, but he still has family heritage to play for Nigeria, he could have he didn't make the England squad. He can then play for Nigeria in the Olympics. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that, because the rules are completely different for that. And when the Olympics are over, he can go back. So those are just the sort of things that I mentioned. Either there are three, if I just can think of three quick names here in South Africa. Asiva Diamani, you have Luther Obi, and you have Raymond Rule. Raymond Rule played for the Springboks. Asiva Diamani is just picked up by the Springboks now to play for the Sevens, and Luther Obi has played junior Springboks. Those are three guys that will have a massive impact on the team, with some of our local boys and other guys around the globe. So if we could have gotten that right, with assistance with government and the mother body, Rugby Africa, I think things would have been completely different, and we were singing a different tune here today. So the audience would have known that how great rugby is out there. But be that it is may, we must take this one on the chin, and we have to learn from it, and we need to improve from it, improve on these type of things happening out there. And like I mentioned, we need to get the funding thing right. We need to get better planning in place and so forth.
We need to get funding right. I'm glad we're learning. Let's prefer more solutions, You're South African, and rugby in South Africa is huge, has got some good following. Let's go back to the basics. What are some of those basic things we can do now to start developing rugby and give it some followership in Nigeria?
If you look at 2018, when I started, Austin, I think you just had me on the show after we came back from Niger. That particular team that went to Niger was given to me, if you know what I mean. It was selected for me. And the average age of that team was around about 35, to be honest with you, 35 plus. The guys were over their 30s and so forth, some of, and I thought to myself, this is one thing that we need to get right. And why do I say that? The school structure, we need to get that right. And we need to get simple things in place. I know Nigerians think this, rugby is this barbaric game and so forth. But if we can get the schooling system right, where we can allow them to play and stay, by playing tag rugby first, just to get used to the game, and then get them, show them the technical aspects when they get to, this second high school and to the universities, where they are taught the technical things, but they already understand the rules of the game at the junior level. And then we'll get younger players playing for the national team, instead of guys learning the game when they are already 20 plus years old, and then they play for the national team when they're almost in their 30s. So if you look at the team now, the team is more or less around about the age of 25, 26. But we need younger players that understand the game from a younger age. So in terms of solution, we need Rugby Africa to roll out programs here. And obviously Nigeria needs to follow through on that programs across across Nigeria, and not only Lagos or in some other states further north. I mean, there's like I mentioned to you, there's a bunch of talent out there. We just need to hone that skills and get it right in the beginning. And not only players, but also coaches. I think the coaching aspect of it is very important. And if I just look at in South Africa, you don't even have to ask anybody to coach. There's always volunteers willing to coach and go into coaching courses so they can carry over those skills and that knowledge.
I must say thank you so much, Coach Bronson Ware, for your time. We will continue to monitor COVID-19, and when it leaves, hopefully rugby in Nigeria will bounce back. Thank you so much for your time, Coach.
Yeah, thank you very much, and we'll be a force to be reckoned with in the future. Don't worry about that. Just get the little things right. And you guys get safe out there, and wear your mask.
Thank you so much. We will. Okay, so that's it. Woo, Cecilia.
Yeah, it's a whole lot. I mean, I was going to ask you because, you're looking at the grassroots development, which is really key on. If you don't start it from grassroots as usual, I mean, how can you have average age
35.
of 25, 30,
35.
I mean, 35? It's not really looking good.